Greetings, everyone, and welcome. It is May the 28th, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 9 o'clock in Ukraine and Moscow. If you were wondering what would be the response from Trump's playing with fire, as I discussed yesterday, I told you, let's wait 24 hours and see what unfolds. And unfortunately, today, I can absolutely confirm to you that Trump is 100% out of his league. I'm going to validate it to you with video. And now he is being embarrassed and trolled on the global stage. And this is a disaster for not only Ukraine, but also for global stability. It is an absolute tragedy what we are witnessing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing, liking, and commenting. You know, just slinging out tweets and throwing out capital words and playing with fire and exclamation points will never work with Russia. It will not even work with Ukraine. That is not how you lead. So let's jump right to it. I stand 100% behind the thumbnail, the title. Trump today saying 2 more weeks. Of course, Putin, well done, my friend, because I'm sure they still think they're buddies. They're honestly, on an interview yesterday, Donald Trump did not even know that Ukraine was launching attacks on Russia. I know you've seen those videos. That's why I'm not playing it, because I want to focus on the response from today. I've got it all ready to go for you, but let's start with President Donald Trump.
Do you believe the Russians are being disrespectful when they say that your criticisms of Putin are simply an emotional response? And do you still believe that Putin actually wants to end the war?
I can't tell you that, but I'll let you know in about 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, we're going to find out very soon.
We're going to know in about 2 weeks. Now, I'm wondering why he didn't scream at her fake news and throw her out of the White House or the press pool there. Honestly, 2 more weeks? How do you go from playing with fire? And yes, I'm mad on this one, and I'm trying to control my anger, but it's such a disgusting method, and it's playing perfectly into Putin's hands. Okay, so we see that disaster. 2 more weeks. How many times have you heard 2 more weeks? What a coward. What a coward of a leader. That's what you are, Donald Trump, in regard to Ukraine and Russia, global stability. You're a coward. Now, let's go and look at how Russia has responded and trolled Donald Trump. If you're talking about the emotional outburst that he did on Truth Social with fire and da-da-da-da-da, you wait till they tell him what old Solovyov said today, what Peskov said today, what Lavrov said today, and Putin just stands back and says, well done, my friend. Let's go first to Peskov. This is the official spokesperson for the Kremlin and Vladimir Putin. This is on his morning radio telephone call. This happens every day. I've got it translated for you.
Trump made new statements about Russia and Putin last night. He said Putin is playing with fire, and without him, Russia would face far worse consequences. Has the Kremlin seen these statements, and how would it comment? Honestly, I would not comment on that. Clearly, the U.S. side and President Trump personally, who are making great efforts for a peaceful settlement, want a speedy resolution. We again express gratitude for President Trump's personal mediation efforts. At the same time, there are certainly many nuances in what needs to be discussed that cannot be sacrificed, and that neither side will compromise on based on their national interests. Just as the United States has its own national interests, so does Russia, which are paramount for us and for our president. That is why we are also working very hard. We are preparing for the next round of talks with Ukraine and will continue engaging with the Americans.
I'm sorry to say, but well done, Peskov. You played it perfectly. Well, yeah, that playing with fire, I'm not even going to comment on that. What I'm going to actually say is thank you, Donald Trump, for working so hard to bring peace. But, you know, the situation has a lot of nuances. And just as we respect your internal things and national interest, we know that you'll respect our national interest. And yeah, we're looking at maybe having another talk with Ukraine, maybe in June. Thank you. You're doing a great job. Now, Ushakov, he responded. Here you go, Ushakov.
Here's the statement. Trump doesn't say this on camera, but
Smiling.
he posts on social media that Putin's playing with fire and Russia's sending drones to Ukraine without reason. What Trump's saying there? Of course, we read and monitor all this, but we conclude that Trump isn't well informed about what's really happening in the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Specifically, he's not told about Ukraine's frequent massive terrorist attacks on peaceful Russian cities. Trump only knows about our countermeasures. He doesn't fully grasp that we're only targeting military infrastructure or defense industry facilities. That's all.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, Trump, he doesn't go on camera and say these things. He'll just post things. And Ushakov says, well, Trump is obviously not very well informed. See, this goes back to the statement on the tarmac when the reporter asked Donald Trump, well, Ukraine is hitting Russia too. They are? Well, I didn't know that. This is why all of this is unfolding today, ladies and gentlemen. It's not even so much about the fire comment. It's more about the comment where Donald Trump said, I don't know anything about Ukraine striking. Now, Ushakov jumping right on it, playing the game. And what does Putin do? Well done, my friend. We'll see you in 2 more weeks. Now, talking about Troll City. Of course, Solovyov jumping right on it. I've got it translated for you, and here you go. Listen. Just listen to it. You say, well, don't listen to those guys, Greg. No, you need to listen. This is what's feeding this evil machine in Washington, D.C. Listen to this.
Successful manipulations by European leaders and Trump sincerely believing the world's going to hell, thinking his main job is preventing World War III. So what weapons can he transfer? What hasn't he sent yet? F-35S? What else can he send? More missiles? We'll use even stronger weapons. The world's racing towards unconventional warfare. Europe will be destroyed. America will step in, then the whole world. It'll escalate with tit-for-tat responses. Trump will go down in history. Though no one will be left to write it, so that's easier. Trump couldn't stop the Palestine conflict. No one listened. Trump couldn't make Iran surrender. No one listened. His only success, getting Arab money and a deal with Houthis to attack Israel but not touch US ships. Everything else is a bust so far. Trump aimed to cut the US budget deficit. Nothing like that happened. It only grew larger. Trump wanted to boost the economy. Well, we'll see if that pans out. But investment inflow isn't what he hoped. Trump tried to tackle top Democrats. No luck yet. Trump wanted to fix his bureaucracy, but it backfired. They ousted Musk, who said he'd funded Republicans enough. Trump's distancing from Europe's conflict. If it continues without European money might seek American safety. This benefits Trump. Why intervene now? Send in troops? That's madness. We'd respond swiftly with different tactics.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. If you can get through it and listen to it, you hear what he's saying. He says, okay, we'll just end up, of course, putting out the fatalist Medvedev stuff, the World War III stuff. EU destroyed World War III. Trump goes down in history as a failure, but there'll be no failure. But let's look at facts. Iran, failure in policy. Palestine, Gaza, failure in policy. What has he done well? Got money from the Middle East, gloated about it, got airplanes. How about it settling his own budget? No, he has Republicans jumping ship now, key ones from his financial big, beautiful bill. Golden Dome? Oh, well, Canada's got to be involved in that. And it goes on and on. Oh, and his best buddy, Musk, who dumped all the money in to help him get elected. Well, it looks like they're on the outs now. They're parting ways. Do you see how they're playing this? They're going to push Trump's buttons like crazy, and they're doing a very good job of it. Unbelievable. Donald Trump is this week. Putin says, well done, my friend. Well done. Now, we come to Lavrov. I've got him on the thumbnail there. Did you know that today in Russia there was a foreign relations meeting and 113 nations were represented there listening to Lavrov? Did you know that? It's not on your mainstream news. It's not out there a lot, but I've got it for you. Listen to what Lavrov said today. 113 nation represented listening to this disaster.
I find it totally unacceptable how the West, UN leaders, and other global bodies emphasize territorial integrity while completely ignoring nations' right to self-determination. It's clearly stated, respect the territorial integrity of states that don't violate people's self-determination and represent all residents. Does the Kiev regime represent its people after starting a war following the February 2014 coup? Does it represent Crimea's population, or did it represent Crimea and southeast Ukraine post-coup? Of course not. At the May 16th talks in Istanbul, we pushed to repeal these discriminatory laws and will continue to do so in the next round of direct talks, which we'll announce soon. Ukraine's neutral, non-bloc, and nuclear-free status was solemnly declared in its 1991 independence declaration. This commitment to neutrality and non-nuclear status enabled Ukraine's recognition as an independent state by Russia and the international community. The Nazi regime tried to break this oath, even writing their intent to violate the nuclear-free status in the Constitution. Returning to this commitment is a key Russian demand for any settlement, as discussed in the April 2022 Istanbul talks.
There you have it. 113 nations listening to that rhetoric. Oh, everything is Ukraine's fault. Okay. The coup, they don't recognize anything. Crimea is ours all the way back to 2014. And these nations are listening to it. Now, this is what we've offered at the talks, and we're going to have more talks in the future, but they got to be non-nuclear, non-bloc, neutral. All of that's got to happen. And we will not back off of that. Lavrov just spewing it out there for all of these nations to listen and to go back home and tell their governments, I think Ukraine's the problem here. And it goes on and on and on and on. And what do we see? Well done, my friend. You've done good. Now, today, final thing I'll share with you, and we get a response from Peskov on this. Zelensky meeting Merz in Germany, talking about the war, talking about relationships. Germany standing strong with the statements coming from Merz over the last couple of days. Here is Peskov, and he responds to that meeting.
It once again confirms Ukraine has no restrictions on long-range artillery. At a press conference with Zelensky, he announced Germany will finance production of long-range missiles in Ukraine to be used as Ukraine sees fit, including outside its territory. In this case, we see Germany competing with France to further provoke war. All these actions naturally interfere with peace efforts. We hope that despite such provocations and obstacles, the settlement process can continue, with a second round of talks and exchange of agreed memorandums. Unfortunately, there is no other way to characterize Germany's actions.
Escalation, ladies and gentlemen. So, yesterday, we shared with you, thank you for being here, subscribing, liking, commenting about that comment. And I told you that comment from Donald Trump, but so much more to it, especially the angle where he was talking about not even knowing that Ukraine is striking Russia inside Russia. So they jump on it and they go after him. And Trump today in his press conference, well, we'll see in 2 more weeks. Well done, my friend. You're doing good. Ladies and gentlemen, we stand against all of this trash. 100% pro-Ukraine, 100% standing for truth, 100% fighting, doing everything we can do. And you are a part of that. Thank you for your part. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all of those things. Together, we are making a difference. Tell your friends, this is what's really happening. Be blessed, and we'll be back at you later.